Hey ho, everybody! It is lesson 7. We are going to look at another three. 1, 2, 3. Uno, dos, tres, ichi, ni, san. I can't remember what I'm saying now. Socialization agents. So we've got ethnicity, culture, and school. I've kind of grouped these together because I think they work really well. So, first one is school. So, as a socialization agent, as a secondary socialization agent, I probably would say and put this right up sort of toe to toe with peers. So, you've got family as the primary socialization agent. Then you have a lot of secondary socialization agents. I think school, up there with peers, is one of the most important influences because we are, in some cases, like a second parent to a lot of young people. We're sort of the balancer and moderator between the clash that you have between your peers and your family at times. School acts as that bridge between the two. So it is a very fundamental and important socialization agent. And teachers such as myself know things that can help you live a good life and be successful. We don't know everything. We're also lifelong learners just like you. But I think that's partly what makes school and the education system such a profound socialization agent. So school is one of the most important influences on identity formation, especially through young and formative years. So formative means, I guess in this sense, when you're forming, so this idea that you're forming your identity, you're forming your social self, your physical body is literally forming and changing shape as you grow up. So that's kind of what we mean by formative years, the foundational, the beginning. Through young and formative years, because of their role in education, training, discipline, and instilling values. So we educate you about the world that you're going to live in, quite literally, especially in Hizzy, which is the king of all subjects. But other things educate you, I guess, in how the world works. So science, for example, is looking at how various elements and things interact to shape and create the world that you see before your eyes today. You've got anyway, I'm not going to talk about other subjects. I'm just going to talk about Hizzy and science because they're probably the two best subjects there are. But I'm kidding. All other subjects and faculties are good too. We train you as well. So this is the art of, I guess, those little things. Writing a sentence. We teach you how to think, how to analyze, how to weigh up two things. So when we're teaching you about an essay and how to construct an argument, yes, we're teaching you writing and literacy, but we're also teaching you how to think. How can you balance the opinion of this versus that and come to a conclusive meaning? And that's so important in life. That'll make you deadly. You know, you've got a workplace manager in the future who wants this idea to come to fruition, and then you've got another guy in another department wanting this. How can you marry the two? How can you present an argument that fits both of the things that they want? So that's a sort of skills and implicit skills that we're teaching for you guys too, and that can help form your socialization and your personality as well. Obviously there's the discipline side of things, so we're teaching you as well social expectations and social norms. So this idea of respecting authority. If some students spoke to their workplace boss the same way they spoke to a teacher, they'd get sacked. So we're sort of trying to teach those similar kind of values that you would expect in the workplace, like embracing diversity, having respect for other people, listening when being spoken to, and when speaking to someone else, being quiet so that they can listen to your amazing ideas. And the other thing is instilling values. So values such as respect, such as becoming a lifelong learner, being open to new ideas, all those sorts of things you learn at school. But you also learn them at home and through other socialization agents too. But school takes a big role in that as well. High school is especially important because at no other time in your life do you spend up to 6 years with such a large group of people. Your cohort, so your year, will spend time experimenting, exploring, and growing up together in a turbulent period of your life and share a cultural experience. So turbulent meaning that it's going to be a period of great, profound change. So things that so when something's turbulent, so you're in an aeroplane, it's a bit shaky, it's a bit wobbly. Growing up in a turbulent period as adolescence is quite an experience, and school, especially high school, really encapsulates and capitulates that. And that's why a lot of people fondly look back on their high school experience as one of the best periods of their life, although for others it's not a good experience, and it really depends on the school you go to, I guess, and sort of the people around you. But again, that's another lesson for another day. School, though, in a nutshell, this is the activity I want you to think about in relation to school as a socialization agent. We impact you in 3 ways, and I want you to answer me very briefly, how each of these 3 areas influences your identity. So I'll explain and unpack each of them. So we influence you in the curriculum. So that's what you learn in the classroom. So for example, what you're learning right now is from the syllabus. That's been mandated by the government, who was elected by the people, blah, blah, blah. So our curriculum is sort of the core literal things that we teach you in class, the subject matter. Then there's what we call the hidden curriculum. So that's things like lining up before you get in the classroom, showing manners, being responsible, submitting things on time, being punctual, wearing the appropriate uniform that is relevant to your school, and then that sort of shows you that you need to wear the appropriate uniform whether you're in your workplace. So a police officer, for example, a chef, they all have certain regulations on dress codes and standards that they have to abide by, and similar to them, you do as students as well. Teachers do as well. Like if I wore this to work, I'd get in trouble because there's no collar. As a male teacher, I have to wear a collar. It's in the department's policy. So there's hidden curriculum stuff. But then there's also the extracurricular activities. So these are things like the excursions, the school camps. They are cool camps too. But these are the sporting groups. What are the sort of ideas or values, things like teamwork, cooperation, all those kind of things? How does that influence and change your identity as well? So that was school. Pause that thought, answer those questions, and then move on to ethnicity and culture when you're ready. So ethnicity and culture, I sort of pair them together, and I haven't put too much in here because we've looked a lot, like we've unpacked culture and ethnicity a lot already in our previous topic, but I'll sort of give it a little bit of space here. So remembering that culture is our language, beliefs, values, the way we view things, all of that stems from culture. Our ethnicity is very much, and this is the first part here. So ethnicity is sort of the distinctive, and it's very related to culture. So ethnicity is, and you could honestly write ethnicity here and culture here and swap them around, and they both be right. In fact, you might even want to write both ethnicity and culture are, and ethnicity and culture includes, because they're both right. They're very closely linked. I guess the real nuance thing is ethnicity has a lot to do, and we'll learn about this a bit later, with the nature aspects of yourself. So things like your genetics, where you're born, determines what facial structures and things like that you have. But that ethnicity typically has cultures attached to it. So for example, one of my best mates is Polish, and he's got certain facial structures and features which are typical to that region in which he lives. He's also got a lot of cultural practices that stem from his culture, such as like at Christmas they have vodka soaked cabbage, which just sounds disgusting, and is disgusting because I've tried it. But that's just my personal opinion. No disrespect to the culture and practice. I'm sure a lot of cultures think that Vegemite and cheese is disgusting, even though it's bloody delicious. But anyway, so you can see how they're really closely linked. So they're the distinctive practices and perspectives that a given community of people share, and that set them apart from others, I guess, is sort of what makes it, I guess, slightly more related to ethnicity in this particular sentence, is because that everyone is different. So like my Polish friends' cuisine, for example, is very different to my Australian cuisine, which I enjoy mostly enjoy on a daily basis. And this sort of influences who we engage with, what we eat, what we read, what we listen to, is very much determined by our culture and by our ethnicity's cultural practices. We're very blessed that we can live in such a diverse country that is Australia, where we have a lot of exposure to a lot of different ethnic practices, ethnic cuisine, ethnic culture, and yeah, it's really cool. But then the features of culture, and indeed ethnicity here includes, but if you're wanting to get this straight, you can put culture here. That includes language, our national origin, cuisine, religion, dress, and heritage. And all of these help shape your interests, choice of plans to travel, and your sense of humor. So for example, like my ethnic background, if I go down the family trees, is in Scandinavia, in Norway particularly. So that's a place I want to travel there to explore like my ethnic heritage and things like that at some point in my life. Haven't been there yet, but that sort of can drive things, and it can drive your sense of humor as well, and other things like that too. What I want you to do though now, as a research task, I want you to research the following cultural traditions and briefly summarize their cultural significance here. So this line is to briefly summarize what it is, and this line is to briefly summarize the cultural significance. And I don't want you to write the cultural significance of spitting on the bride is, just say what it is. So you might want to just write what it is, and then here you might just want to write significance equals and then say what it is. Don't give me a long-winded answer, but research each of these things. I've told you the particular ethnic culture and area of where it comes from, and I've got some photos here which reflect some of them. So baby jumping in Spain, lotus feet binding in China, which is looks like it's very painful. And then we have Bonash soup from Venezuela, and yeah, that's quite interesting too. So research each of these, write them down, and we can discuss it in class. Thanks.